Public comment. Hello. Second call for public comment. Third and final call for public comment. Okay. We'll move on to consider the approval of last month's minutes. Everyone had a chance to read them.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, if you guys are okay with it, I'm gonna come back to number 4. We can move through most of the other stuff fairly quickly and when we come back. So I asked for a podcast update to be put on here just because there's been kind of a few things Sergeant and I have been a part of.
What's happening there?
We,
You okay? I thought your chair was.
do you want to talk about the, like, mayor? Yeah.
Oh, so T and I were on the mayor's like video cast, I don't know what you call it, insights last week we were taped and I guess it's up now. And then next week, we are gonna be on Studio 701, talk about our podcast, and they actually approached us to be on Studio 701 just because of everything that they've heard, so. And then we've decided, we'll hit our 50th episode soon. So we decided our 50th episode is actually going to be Stevens and Jason Tamonic. Was kind of 30 office, it was city administrator. He was here, so he'll be our 50th person.
No. Sorry, keep going.
Oh,
We're leaving him a little early, but we're gonna air him as the 50th. I don't know what else you wanted.
Nope, that was it. That was pretty much it. Any questions about the fun podcast? Okay, then down below we have the neighbor award discussion. And I don't know if we want, well, that reminds me. So did we vote, was it last month that we voted on the humanitarian? Okay. So just so you are all aware, as I stated with Marco's nominations, I would send everything forward to the police department, which I have done. And then from this point on, it's kind of up to them, you know, what they wish to do with that. So that has been forwarded, offered all of the nominations and everything like that. So, and then Gabby had brought up considering some sort of a, you want to talk about?
Oh, just thinking of with the popularity of the These Are Your Neighbors podcast, and obviously the purpose of the podcast aligns with what the work that we do within the HRC, but it, I think, reaches a broader scope than what the Humanitarian Award does. And so as that becomes more and more popular, and as we've asked for a budget increase, I think I'm more that one with the budget update of maybe considering having an award for basically just like being a good neighbor within your community and having that as an opportunity for community members to recognize. And it could even be, I think, you know, it could be an annual thing like the Humanitarian Award is, or it could be something where it's not the same type of placard, but it could be a different type of award. Even just if we give it more frequently, depending on how we want to go about it, but just a way of hopefully uplifting the podcast. But then recognizing, I think, really with like Margot's situation or some of that type of stuff of where it might not fit as well within the Humanitarian Award, that there might be other opportunities for our committee to provide recognition. I love that.
agreed.
I have a question. So are you thinking that the award would be a little bit more subjective depending on the scenario? Like there would be no clear criteria? Like Marcos was an act of heroism. Are you thinking that it could be just kind of fluid with, you see something that's deserving to be recognized, that you would give an award or recognition, or is there some sort of boundary in mind?
Do we do anything around, so we're all about certain things, and we always ask the same question last, and it's about accessibility, inclusion, diversity, everything in our community. We center on that or not, because we already have the humanitarian in here.
Does the podcast have more of a clear definition or like a narrower understanding of these are your neighbors? Like, I can't recall right now, does it go right off of what the Human Relations Committee's vision is? Or does it, could we narrow it to, what is being a good neighbor? Otherwise, you may get people, Sassy shoveled my snow last
That's what I
week.
was thinking about.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, there's this nice man in our neighborhood that, always fixes all the kids' bikes when they break, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but it does feel a little disconnected from what like the scope of what we're focusing on.
I think it has to be centered around our mission, but it doesn't mean that it can't have a narrower focus.
And you could even do like categories too, if you want. Just thinking of how, the last time you had mentioned that, like in military awards, there's usually 2 different types of categories. You could even have it, which of these categories does this?
Yeah, because, in the military, you have service, which expand over a period of time. You have achievement, which is typically like a single achievement. You have heroism. So you're right. I think we need to narrow it.
I think it's a great idea and I would be behind it. And then, taking the time to look at what are the qualifiers for the humanitarian award and then what would we turn this other recognition into? More so of a recognition than an award.
Yeah, and it could be as simple as a certificate.
Yeah.
It's not like we need to,
We could do it quarterly,
So it's
Yeah.
where it's a little more, where we can get a little more recognition in the community. And so people could submit at any time and then quarterly we would choose from them, something like that.
yeah, because I do like the idea of it being given out because I think it would provide a little bit more awareness of the work that we're doing and that people are doing in the community as well. But yeah, if it was just kind of willy-nilly.
Would you align that with like, the winner of that would obviously be on the podcast, right? This might be like someone that, we don't know about. Like, there's so many great things that are happening in the city, right? So that would be a cool part of that, of like, having and learning about their work and why they do the things they do in our community. And I think that would be cool too, just to align it with.
Timing would not work out, but
You could even do like in the fall, choosing 1 or 2 of.
I would say maybe
the
choosing
recipients.
one of them that we choose throughout the year. I think it'd be a little much if we have someone on the podcast that wins every single quarter, especially 30 minutes to qualify time. Another thing.
Yeah.
Could we do something where like if they win, then they would be featured in the podcast sometime down the road?
I think, I don't think that would be impossible. It's just that like right now, we're already scheduled out our recordings till what, February? Or January, so that's the problem is just the scheduling of it.
And it's depending on what it is, how much is it?
Which time it would take.
Yeah, but it could at least provide the opportunity of even just more awareness of people that we're not even realizing would be a good guest to have or,
You could even do a 5-minute intro of, today we have so-and-so who works with those who are houseless. And just a quick little synopsis, go to the Bismarck Human Relations page and see, we just recognized Sally for feeding the houseless, Sally Bowles for feeding.
They're on one where they go.
You know what I mean? To where we could get the word out and we could send them to a place that gives a little more info without having to take a whole show. Or like at the end of the year, just doing a show with them. And this is all fluid,
We could look at doing multiple people at the end of the year.
Yeah. Do like
So then
10
it doesn't,
minutes
so it
all
doesn't
day.
have to be 30 minutes that you're taking time to
Yeah,
do.
because we can stream.
Yeah, I would say that would be a good idea. Do you think we need to do a subcommittee for this, just to kind of look at the criteria? Because it'll probably take a little more time.
So, yes. But also, I have a feeling when we get to number 9, this might come back up. So if we want to table this.
Yeah.
For a few more down, I think it'll tie in well. Does that sound okay?
Mhm.
Who was at Biz Market?
Eating juice.
Any updates, anything you want to tell us?
It was great.
We didn't cross over that much. It was literally a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
It was wild. It was a
We
hard
were
day.
next to the hot dog stand and I was just having a blast with that and the library. So I was calling people over and.
I was doing the best I could. So, yeah, they weren't aware of us, which
Yeah.
we,
Just snafu, yeah.
They had the person who was aware of us, well, the person my friend communicated to who was aware of us being there is no longer with Biz Market, and they failed to tell then the new market manager. And so,
Got it.
then the new market manager wasn't aware, and then I know Kitty had reached out to me and I tried connecting with my friend. It took a while to connect with her because she's been going through some health issues too, so.
it was no issue. It worked out. Like, I just felt like because it was so windy that day, I just like, was like,
Yeah.
hi.
Yeah.
So, but I do think with the right setup, it could be a great place to outreach to people.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It was a different, well, my brain is fried. Demographic
Yeah.
of people that we don't normally interact with. And so it was cool to have people be like, who are you? What is this? You know, and have those conversations, because that's the biggest thing we've really been pushing is getting transparency out into the community and recognition. So, yeah. Just in a different format.
So worth it again next year?
Yeah. I want to think about like a different way for people to interact with us because I feel like in some of our like behavioral health initiatives, like even having a board where people can be coloring or saying, you know, what's something you love about our community and writing, you know what I mean? Just sort of interacting with,
Yeah.
sometimes kids will draw a picture, it gives you an opportunity to talk to mom, you know what I mean? There's something
You
there.
don't like, here's our pamphlet, and then quickly try and run through what we are and what
Yes.
we do.
I wish there was like a video of me that day. I'm like, it was so funny. It was classic North Dakota.
Yep.
But no, I think it's but I think maybe a setup that we can have that people can see and aren't be drawn to or something.
I think that's a good idea as far as what you like about your community or what. It's
Yeah.
very good, 'cause it's very, our mission as far as community minded.
We can gather more info for us
Yeah.
about ways we want to touch.
Well, Nick could, I mean, it's something we could do at different events.
Yes.
Continue to grow, somehow figure out what that looks like, from event to event. I think it's a great idea. Anything else regarding Biz Market? Okay, we'll go to the budget update. I just wanted us to have an idea of where we're sitting with 2 months remaining. I don't think this has our flex on it though.
Yep, it does.
Hmm.
Or at least it should.
Remind me what our current like.
25, right? Whitney, do you know what the cost was? I don't.
I thought it had pulled in already, but it was, I want to say $60 per plaque, so about 120.
So that. That leaves us roughly with just under 1,300. Did I do my math correct, right? Yeah. 180. Cause I had 1,400 without that. I could have done math. So if there's any events, potential partnerships that you guys are aware of now, we can bring it up. If not, I encourage you before our November meeting to really just kind of consider, we don't want to just throw our money at the end of the year into something. So if there's things that, events happening, partnerships that we can have, I did put MLK because usually in December, so I'm assuming if they're doing the event again, there'd be a $250 donation going that way.
Yep.
But, any discussion there? Anything you guys are tracking right now that would,
We have the Dakota TESOL event. It's gonna be happening in November. That's for multilingual learners. It is the hosted at the Capitol. First time it's been in Bismarck in a while.
you said it's the T cell,
TESOL, TESOL.
like the exam, yeah, gotcha.
That's on November 18th through the 19th. Actually, it's at the Radisson Hotel. I lied.
Bespoke.
You're online, yeah. So what are they asking, like, what would they use the money for?
I know that they needed help with sponsoring their speaker. Speakers. We typically fund more than what we were able to this year. So they were just asking for additional funds.
Who is it this, like who's actually putting on the event?
Dakota TESOL is. Okay. It's a branch of like a national organization. And they cover North and South Dakota.
Who attends the events?
Primarily EL teachers, coordinators, some admin.
The levels they have, at least for basic levels, are 500 or less, I guess, technically 1,000 or 2,000, and then they have like a la carte options too.
Like, what are the
The-
for all card options?
They have like keynote speaker, lanyard, social, snack bar, refreshments bar.
And price for-
So keynote is 2,500, lanyards are 150, social is 2,000, snack bar is 1,000, refreshments bar is 1.
But we can't sponsor food.
Is the audience statewide?
It's North and South Dakota.
Okay.
But I mean, it's available, it's open. So other people come as well.
What was the group? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
It's okay. Dakota TESOL.
We've done sponsorships before. Would we generally do 250?
250.
Yeah.
The closest then to that would be 150 and it'd be for lanyards.
Or I think technically, I mean, Silver sponsor itself says 500 or less.
Oh, so we just say 250.
Do 250 if you wanted to do that too.
And this isn't against, so I don't want you to take offense to this, but I feel like the only thing we have to be careful of is like, I feel like we're in place to think really locally about our community of like, how is this going to increase services access, capacity to treat multilingual or, you know, English as a second language, that type of thing in our community. So that would be my only concern with that, right? Of like, is that gonna impact our community? And it probably will, but just something for us to
That's a
think
great
about.
question. Yeah.
I would assume that because it's in Bismarck, most EL teachers are going to be attending it. And
Yeah.
I know I communicate with one of them fairly regularly and they need like, they're understaffed like everywhere, but
Bismarck Public Schools in particular, I think are bringing like 50 to 60 people alone.
And if we needed more information too, I think of like I know like Heather is in that new role with public health for the Southern. She is like the co-president of TCL, so like she's the one who reached out to me for work to sponsor it, so she would probably have more information that she could answer specific questions that we need to.
I mean, the students that they reach are English proficient, immigrant, refugee students, migrant students, Hutterite colony students, Native American or Alaska Native students, for those who have a heritage language in their background.
Like the fact that, you know, Bismarck Public is bringing roughly 50, whether it's people or family. I think that kind of says, yes, it is going to impact our community.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm extremely biased with anything that promotes language learning. So I will take a step back from completely derailing this conversation, but
I think one of the things that we're not only focusing on this at the state level, but really all of the departments within North Dakota are providing learning opportunities for content teachers or teachers who aren't specifically in EL role, because they need to be servicing EL students. And right now it's something that is a growth area for our content teachers.
for those of us not in education, what is a content teacher?
Those are just like math, science, and social studies.
Okay.
Suggestion?
Fortunate thing is we probably have to make action today because
Yeah.
next time we meet is the day of the conference.
Yeah, we would have
I'd
to.
make a motion. $250.
Second,
All in favor of $250 sponsorship to Dakota TESOL?
I,
All opposed? Okay, motion. That's 250. Okay. So with that,
I'd make a motion to do a $250 sponsorship to the MLK event upcoming in January of 25, just to give us a better idea of where we sit budgetarily.
Second.
okay, all in favor of $250 sponsorship to the MLK event?
I,
I,
I should probably ask for eyes, I'm sorry. All opposed?
oh, like,
Okay.
is that gonna be at Trinity again?
I'm hoping, yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
Okay, I should have discussed this before. But just for clarification, we're reserving that money for the MLK, right?
Yes,
We're not sending the check until
Correct.
the event has been, okay.
correct. It's just to give it's been allocated.
Yeah.
Just so we have an idea where we sit as we near the end of the budgetary fiscal year.
I think that would leave us with about 750 still.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you couldn't go ahead or why you wouldn't want to go ahead and send it to the, we would have a hard time carrying over $250 to the next year, like you allocated, but we would ideally want to spend it during this year and you can.
Oh,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
think we would, I think we just want to make sure that the event,
anything regarding.
like, yeah, we're just making an assumption right now that the event is happening.
I'm assuming it will. I can try and dig quickly.
Okay, if not, Bill,
Bill's wife, Marcia,
okay. I can connect.
at least kind of stepped back.
So I'm looking at the registration for the exhibitor booth. And it's the 250 registration, but then there's additional staff. So if you guys are gonna have more than 2 people manning the booth, I think there's additional fees for that.
I don't think we're gonna actually have a booth. I think we're just gonna
No.
provide the
Just do
fund.
the donation?
the
Okay,
Sponsorship, yeah. I mean, what day of the weekend?
Monday, Tuesday.
I'd go hang out.
Yeah.
Have to leave.
I was also thinking speaking of that, if there are things that we can't like stand up with that, maybe we could have one of those cool, like that stands up,
Yes.
kind of like,
Banner
like a,
almost.
yeah, but it like stands up by itself.
Full banners?
Yes.
Yeah, and then we could have like a pocket with our brochures. We could just, you know,
It pops up.
Pop it up and-
That would be nice to have, I think.
The small ones are like $100 because they don't for nonprofit, so we could look at end of the year buying a bigger one.
Except at Bismarck.
And still Friday night.
To the back on his skateboard.
Actually, along those lines, I mean, another thing, this, we might not have money for it, but like, I think our table cover is nice, but maybe we should just get a branded table cover, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Budget was accepted to increase to 5,000 for next year. So this year you would have.
Thank you very much for that work. That's awesome.
Appreciate you,
Wow.
man in the corner.
Okay, so I need to circle back to this with Whitney really quick. Whitney, do you want me to reach out to that sponsorship email tomorrow? Was that-
Yeah, if you want to, just to see if there's, I guess, a way to be a sponsor without being a vendor.
I will.
Well, if we are doing like a donation, then it would be a way to like, it'd be like a caveat that this is our, you know, thing that we're gonna put there. That makes sense? Sorry, I don't know if I heard the question right, but if we would want, say we got that thing
Oh,
and we'd wanna like drop it off.
I don't know if we
Be able to get that in time.
get that in time.
I don't know.
I can-
Like I said, it was kind of in my own head and then jumped out of my own head.
Okay, I have to send myself a message to email.
I would think it'd be good to even just consider what are those types of things for when we do outreach, like, do we need, or is it feasible to have like even our own tent for things that don't provide that?
yeah.
Our
Oh.
own table.
Yes.
Right. With
Right.
us.
And then when we're going to somewhere.
Yeah.
So, okay, so those are things
Okay.
then would be a tent, but wouldn't necessarily have to be branded, that could just be
The canopy we're
like,
talking
yeah,
about.
it can be, yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Like, I
I
mean,
mean,
but-
we're looking.
The easiest that we could get, because there's some really rough ones to try and do. Like, it may cost a little more, but for the sake of maybe one person setting up
Yeah.
at times. Yeah.
We'll stand.
Do we have opportunity for storage space? Things?
We do, admin does have space in the basement, so it would just be a little bit more cumbersome to get, which is not a big deal. We have room in the basement.
My recommendation is we prioritize the pull-up stand and the tablecloth, because we probably won't need a canopy until the summer. And so if we need, we could use funds from next year's budget. So with that, are we wanting Whitney to look into branded tablecloth and a branded pull-up stand? And if that's the case, yes.
Motion.
Oh, discussion. Okay, second,
A second.
And then we can discuss.
we're gonna open this up for discussion. My question was then, with the pull-up banners, can you get an estimate of cost without actually knowing the design?
We have
Places
enough.
like Dakota Awards and Capital Trophy are pretty good about providing like estimates based on the they have like a set design fee and then the product itself. So I'm guessing they would be able to do it without doing the design.
The printers would be another one. That's very complicated.
We have a ton of pictures. We're ready to pick a couple pictures. And then Robert's Rules, the podcast with no QR code, because we never know.
And our
how it's
logo.
gonna last, yeah, our logo and then a little blurb or a couple short blurbs.
And the QR codes can be in the pocket with our
Right,
materials.
yeah. Yeah,
And then for Claire, so we want a pocket on the pull-up stand.
Yes.
I didn't even know that, that's
I didn't
cool.
either.
I mean, I don't know if we can do it, but
It does, awesome.
I make like so when it's like we need.
You need one that-
I'm sorry, I lied again. I can't sew. I can find somebody who can sew.
Misspoke.
I misspoke.
So I do want clarification on the motion that's on the table. Was the motion to allow Whitney to price out? Was it allow her to purchase? What was the specifics of the motion, please?
I just motioned what we said, which was to investigate.
Okay,
But well,
Do
hold on.
research.
Are we in discussion?
Research.
Are we in discussion?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep. Is it something where we could get like a approval via email, just to see if potentially we could have it for TESOL? Potentially.
when is TESOL?
18th, 19th November.
Yeah,
another,
I mean, I'd be welcome to a friendly amendment.
Friendly amendment.
while
With my
we're,
motion.
while we're discussing still.
I think you can approve up to an amount if you're not sure.
So that's
So,
what I'm-
and like not to exceed this amount.
we could figure out what we want to have, for sure know that we want to have till the end of the year. So if we're sitting at the 750 after, that was after MLK, correct?
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
So if we want to say, we want to make sure we still have 250 in case a sponsorship or partnership opportunity comes up. Roughly, yeah.
It would,
Or even,
What any costs associated with the community conversation, or like any honorariums?
I do think though that while you say that, that's something we should consider next year.
I have a small one like this big for my nonprofit, and that was 100. So
Oh.
just,
I'd make a friendly amendment to my motion up to 350.
So here's just a Google search on pricing.
Okay.
I'd say add probably 50 for design.
We're looking roughly around 200-ish. 350 would give us more than leeway. And that's just a pop-up. That'll leave us some funds for logo table. Brandon.
If we're still in discussion, I'm just gonna say that I am intrigued by the fabric banners for future discussion.
fabric banner.
And with the lady standing there, be like
Yeah.
a,
Oh, the
Photography
photography big
backdrop.
pain in the butt to put up.
Oh, a step and repeat?
it was just part of discussion.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
We have one for the Young Professionals Network and they pretty much refuse to do it unless it's like a really, really major event because it's such a pain to put up, but maybe depending on the material and things, it might not be so bad.
For clarification, the motion with the amendment on the table is for Whitney to research and spend up to 350 without further discussion. Is that for the pull-up stand alone or including the tablecloth?
Was the pull-up stand alone? Would you like me to amend that and include?
Nope, I just want clarification.
What is the urgency of the cloth? Do we
The
have anything?
tablecloth?
Yeah, do we have anything within before our next budget?
No.
My concern is if we go forward with do this, the design of it. Was she just gonna, so we then just gonna decide on design and put it, because you're gonna have to get. And then the design.
I think our chair would and vice chair would have some way to work with Whitney as trusted servants of this committee.
I also think Kaylin would be a good, like, someone to just have the conversation with.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, so I think that the design we could work outside of this committee if everyone's okay with that. Okay, motion on the table. Sorry, are we done with discussion?
Yep.
Okay,
I'm Jason. Reed.
The amended motion is as such.
Okay,
Whitney will research and purchase up to a $350 pop-up banner for this committee.
do we have a second?
I second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Phew.
All right, anything further with
Nice job.
with the budget right now?
Doug's like, no, I hope
That was
not.
a dirty motion.
You do understand we're citizen volunteers.
May we remind you?
We're roughly trying to follow, what is it, Roberts?
I'm sorry, I'm writing down that was a dirty motion.
Does dirty mean like just messy or that we like dirty as in
Messy.
like?
Yeah.
We got it.
Hey,
Okay, we will move on to community calendar, which I have failed you all. I have not started that process. My game plan is to have it as a working
Starting
progress by
2025.
January 2025.
That's it.
We will table that for now. Okay, so now we're going to go to the humanitarian, 2024 humanitarian award discussion, which will also possibly bring up more of that other one. I'll show you guys the plaques. So that's what they look like. So I'm guessing the first order of business is going to be when we're going to present these.
When do people get, or do they already get notified? Or is it after we decide when we're
I
presenting?
think it's after.
We're good side.
So with that, we need to figure out when we can present.
Can we do it at a commission?
Yep. And those are, it's the second and fourth, correct? Second and fourth?
We got 12th and 26th.
My concern is the 12th is coming up really quick. Or my
26.
26th is right, so I would be.
17th of December is the commission meeting. We won that one.
I think we could make. And at least I can make that work, is
Which date again?
December 17th. And we do that at the beginning of the meeting, so, because I'm having a feeling if they only have one, it's gonna be a busier meeting, so we could do that right at the beginning. Any strong opposition to December 17th?
I won't be able to make it. Not that it's an opposition.
5:15, right?
So, so Jeremy, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. We, as many members of the committee as they can, we all go there and we just, one of us addresses the commission, correct? And then just tells them, reads the nomination, then we present the award and then we do the organization. So it's pretty quick. And then there'll be photo ops for both. And then we leave. I don't know the process for notifying them. Is that just an email from the city notifying them that they've been selected and then letting them know we would like to present it on December 17th? Is that how it works, Whitney?
I believe we send them letters inviting them to attend the meeting, but also do follow up with a phone call or email to make sure that they can attend.
We did get quite a bit of press. For
Yeah.
so that-
I mean, there's like a news release that goes out in the
Yeah,
city.
Keelan sent a news release out and then the news was there. if I
Yep,
remember right.
yeah, at least the Tribune.
And then KFR covered it too off the Tribune's thing, I think.
okay, that's right.
Okay. Okay. So then, just so city will send out the letters. I don't need to do that, right? I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that I don't
City will do that.
miss a step on what's, okay. So December 17th, we're good there. Another conversation I wanted to have, so these we're presenting, these are the 2023. So we are, I mean, at least we're presenting them this time in 24, because it's, I mean, but it's at the end of 2024. Do we want to, starting 2025, do we want to look at putting out requests for nominations earlier in the year so that we can give out 2024 by mid-year?
I think that was the discussion too, is that after this, at sometime in the fall, even was it November or something like that, that was, we were gonna reopen them again for 2024. That was the exact, but
It was something roughly along those lines.
Yeah.
So that we could prepare ourselves for like late spring, early summer-ish.
So how long do we have this last one open for? Was it just a month or? You guys wanna, so if we're presenting this in December, are we comfortable opening it up for 2024 in January, or should we wait till February, or does it not matter? I think January is a very busy month for people, so I was thinking February also. But we could have nominations for 2024 open. That's another thing that we have to. Like we have to make sure then when we're collecting nominations, that people realize that it's for last year. And I think that'll be easier beginning of the year, because I don't know if that was really considered this go round when we think about it. Because
Marco would have been for,
2024, yeah, so he wouldn't have even, yeah,
I never thought about that till now.
yeah, me either. So this is definitely needed. Okay.
yeah, if we have it open throughout February, I don't know if we have concerns about it being a shorter month, so it's only by a couple days anyways. But then we could even vote, like review and vote even in March potentially to present by
May, yeah,
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
a good idea.
Okay, all right, so nominations will go live February. We'll vote, hopefully if we have quorum in March. And then, present by May. But I like it. Okay, and then from there, I want to keep, I know there was discussion about possibly, that's with voting though. We want to keep the nomination process and form and everything the same, correct? Changes there?
I think we need more nominations, like, I guess I pay more attention to those things maybe than the average citizen, but like, we didn't really have that many nominations, so I just wonder how we can get the word out a little bit.
Do like going on some TV shows.
So, yeah, I
TV
think,
show, put on the morning show and
Do some of the.
Get spot
For today
yeah, I
or
think
something.
it'd be easy.
I'm sure.
It's a
yeah,
media.
it's gone in waves.
Can you
We've
do-
gotten more before and
can
then we
we-
had like two.
It was like a PSA through Dakota Media Access.
Yeah, I thought it's like things actually like, I think of like Prairie Public Radio, and they have like, so the Bush Foundation was just recently doing their fellowship applications, and they kept having ads for that.
My concern with that, with some of the PSAs is that radio stations are required, from my understanding, to do so many PSAs for nonprofits. But because we're a government entity essentially, I don't know if that would be, I think Dakota Media Access is different because they have, yeah, but the other ones, so.
Even on Dakota Media Access, they have a thing that's talks about a podcast every once in a while that rolls through. So you can do a thing, nominations for Bismarck, Bismarck, not Bismarck, Bismarck Green Relations. Oh, no, you're good.
Apologies.
No.
A couple years ago, Sergio and I did like the morning radio shows also kind of outside of Dakota Media Access and Prairie Public, and just trying to expand, kind of like you said, to reach a broader audience. Did you do,
I did bigger.
yeah, and then I did Rock 101.
So we could work with Kaylin or the comms team to kind of determine base.
Let's start hiring someone for the comms team.
There's a communication something open for the city of Elizabeth.
Is Kelly not?
No, Kaylin's, it's another, he's a
Like,
communication strategist, so,
Yeah.
but being that nominations go live February, we can work with the comms team to see kind of when the best, like, is it mid-January, is it waiting till the 1st of February, kind of figure out when that works, so. Cool.
And maybe this is not allowed without people's consent, but I like, even if Kaylin like created like a nice email format of like our logo and, you know, a button to connect to the application or something, I just feel like all of us know enough people that are doing this type of work that we don't just do a blast.
Or they can send it out to people who've been part of the conversations.
Yes.
Like I've been on like panels and stuff, because a lot of them know other people that they would want to nominate too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would definitely have to make sure we're within our left and right limits there with the emails, because if I like the idea. But if we're sending them officially from the city versus us just encouraging,
I can give her your email contacts.
yeah, but
You
even
know,
with that, if it's only going out to like our contacts, is there like a conflict of interest within that? If it's coming officially from the city. So that would be something we just wanna make sure we're within. But otherwise, we could all get the link for the application and individually send them out to organizations and everything. But as we get closer, I will iron that out with Whitney, or if we're in January already when it's been ironed out, the new chair can iron it out with me, so. Okay, so everything will stay the same except for moving everything up. And then let's follow back or go back to the neighbor award discussion. My recommendation would be, I don't know if we want to start a subcommittee immediately. I think we could all possibly take this home, kind of think about it, come back in November. And if any of us have a little bit more guidance on what we think, then we can move forward with a subcommittee if it's needed. Thoughts on that? Or should we start a subcommittee right away?
we can do that if people have ideas, because I haven't heard about it since last week, really.
And actually, this will follow into, I don't want to, like, not that I'm trying to put it off, but it may be best tabled for January, honestly, with new members. Might be a good conversation to have there, so. We still can consider it, think about it, but what are your thoughts on that? Please tabling it till next month.
I would agree too, then like it makes sense to do it maybe just next one we can start talking about it, but then probably not take major action until next year.
Not to sort of muddy the waters with the main humanitarian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's true.
Okay, so we're gonna keep community conversations, I think, towards the end, since we're kind of already talking about expiring terms. I feel like it flows well to go in there. One thing before we dive too much into expiring terms and applications, one thing I would like to bring up for discussion. Right now, we're a committee of 9 that needs 5 for quorum. I would like to open the discussion on thoughts of possibly bringing the committee down to 7. I know that seems kind of like, but we're going to have 5 vacancies coming, so.
Like within the next year, we have 5?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
During expired terms,
Yep.
Patrice is no longer a part
Yeah.
as of the next committee meeting.
Um, I'm glad somebody is bringing this up. As Georgiana and I have kind of been on this committee for a while. And I don't know if we've ever, maybe once or twice in 4 years, 3 years,
3 years.
have we had an entire committee sitting here. And so it's a constant, are we gonna get more? I mean, I get a phone call trying to navigate. And I feel for the sake of operations of this committee and for the benefit of the community, dropping it down by 2 is not as detrimental as we may think. You know, I think it may be more beneficial that business can actually be done. I can't count how many times we haven't even been able to vote on anything. I mean, I don't know.
If we,
No,
No, I don't know, I think it's only been a few times, but, there's standard people who are here all the time. Of course, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think 9 is a pretty big base of points. But if you can get seven strong people where there's a quorum all the time, I mean, I prefer that over 9. If it is, they're gonna be.
Is a quorum for 7 before, is that right?
okay, that was.
So it drops
Actually, we'll have one left.
by 1, but I don't think I've ever been here where there's less than 4, where getting that 5th person is sometimes a challenge.
Yeah.
And I do think too, even if we drop to 7, we really could then focus on getting more people in the community involved, opening up volunteer opportunities so that the 7 people aren't at everything and doing everything. I really think we could do some better outreach with volunteers. So,
I will say, I don't know if you've all been to the revamped city website, but it's a lot easier under the Human Relations Committee where it says volunteers. I mean, it's a quick link, it's relevant, it's up towards the top of the page. So people understand it's not just committee members, but we want to involve the community, which is the biggest thing. I think we can try and, like you said, and push more towards bringing more people to the table.
We've had more people that have came to, like, if there's public comment, came to
Yeah.
a meeting, so I could foresee some of them wanting to volunteer, maybe not be in the committee, but they feel more important, good part of our community, and then they want to volunteer.
Yeah.
That was only gonna be my concern as like one of the newer members is, it seems like, or what I can feel is like, we're doing a lot more, right? Like we're going to more events, we're doing these community conversations. So my only concern with dropping down would be like doing more with less. But I think what you mentioned, yeah, around engaging volunteers and getting community involved, I think it has like benefits twofold, right? Like expanding our capacity, but also involving people. So
no, like, even though we have 9 now, it's typically same couple of people at the events. You know, we might be flip-flopping based on schedules, but I really personally don't think losing 2 people is going to impact our capacity at events, just from somebody who's been on for a while.
Yeah.
My question though regarding this would be to Doug, would be like, if this were to be something we want to consider, what's the process? Like, how, is it something we can even do?
Yeah, it would take an ordinance change. Or maybe an ordinance reads that it's a 9-member committee, which is not a big deal. It just takes a bit of time for that. So yes, we could. While getting the attorney's office involved in the rewrite. Minimal.
How long would that take? That would be a bit of a process.
You have to call for a public hearing and have a public hearing, so that's 2 meetings. On ordinance change.
be hard with like the,
It'd be the beginning of the year. We could talk intention owner to
Just
speak
thinking,
about the potential change and see how long that would take and send email. So I don't see why we can get it done by mid-January and then make recommendations to the commission as far as, or to the mayor to make recommendations to the commission.
So with that then, because of where we sit right now and just recognizing that we're going to have applications for new members, then we'll need five new members anyways with the current way it currently stands, and that's not gonna be able to take effect until potentially January. So would we still have 9 throughout all of 2025? Is that what we would see, or we just wouldn't necessarily have to take action
Wouldn't
until
fill two of the vacant positions.
Okay.
We would just leave out 2 vacant. And then if for some reason it didn't move forward, we could.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, that's getting ahead of ourselves here, so further discussion on the
So-
topic.
I think Whitney and I can communicate through email. What Janelle says as far as timeline goes or step. And then
So if these terms are up, end of 2024, when do we put out applications? Is it
So-
December?
I will be presenting tomorrow night all the opportunities that we have. So the month of November is open application for all of our advisory boards, committees, things like that. So it would be open for the month of November. Right now, we have 5 vacancies, so we would advertise it as such, but because we say that there's 5 right now, we're working on an ordinance change. I'll mention that tomorrow, as long as Janelle's okay with it. Subject to change.
Again, I'm not seeing any negatives to this, so I would encourage people who are to discuss it, because I'm looking at it from my lens right now.
Good with it?
Any,
It would take a motion to,
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Wait, let me get the motion out.
oh, sorry.
Um, To ask the city admin to move forward with an ordinance change of our committee.
We have one discussion. Is that out of order? Is that okay? Can I have one discussion? I mean, the only thing I would just say, like, not to put anyone on the spot, but Geraldine or Sassy or Carl, like, wanting to reapply for continuing their term, right? Because if more than one of them would. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to honor who has already been a part of this committee, and I might be doing that wrong, but that would mean that we'd have to limit who could get it, right? No?
No,
Okay,
says if 4 leaving and 3 would want to reapply.
okay.
And we would, and we knock it down.
Okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Knock
Sorry.
it down, that's all.
it wouldn't limit anybody who's currently serving unless you exceed 2 terms. There's a limitation on the number of terms you can serve in a row.
where are those 3 on their terms?
Whitney, where are,
That's in the
Appreciate it.
handout. There's, I think, the 3rd page in there.
But I mean,
So
I
how
think
many terms have they done?
Oh,
they're first for all of
The
them.
only one that's on a second term.
Okay.
yeah. Oh, no, because I'm on my first, because I finished it on expired.
Where I'm at too.
So they could, you could all 3 then apply to.
Yeah, I believe they're all on their first term.
Okay.
You have a
So-
motion with no second on the table.
Second.
I didn't complete the motion.
Sorry.
It's okay. Yep. A motion to allow city admin to move forward with ordinance drafting, changing the makeup of the Jersey.
from 9 to 7?
From 9 to 7, thank you.
I would like to second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion on the table to move forward with ordinance changing from 9 to 7, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so that motion will move forward. So applications are gonna move forward November, I think. We have,
Is there any other discussion around expired?
I don't think so. I think we will do community conversations and then go to other business.
Okay.
This with us.
Not there.
Oh, I didn't know.
The agenda.
Okay, so let's go to community conversations. Okay, so right now, okay. Okay, emails went out, help me out here, I just explained this, I talked to Sergeant about it yesterday. Emails went out to Micah,
F5.
F5, okay, hold on, let me do this, sorry. Micah and Senator Dever were the two individuals that we invited, and then F5, Sacred Pipe, Youth Works. And then, well, I specified, I guess, with Jasmine from Global Neighbors instead of Global Neighbors as a whole, just because she's the one that works with rentals. I don't know if it would necessarily make sense from anyone else from the organization. Wouldn't 100% be opposed. Right now, we've only heard from Micah that he's going to be there. And knowing the individuals that have been emailed, I don't think it's like them to just not respond. So I think it's because of how the city, like the generic city admin email appears in an inbox. So I sent out follow-up emails this afternoon. So hopefully start getting more conversations going about that.
And I gave a heads up to Mark from Youth Works and he replied saying like, I can see he seemed.
And I know Senator Dever was invited to attend, so I think he's got it on his calendar, even though he doesn't know we invited him to be a panelist yet. So there's that. So just throw that on him, but
Oh, no one that's even a model. Well, it was a Geraldine and someone else. I thought it was actually from Sacred Pipe.
oh yeah, that's what it was. Okay. I think you're right. So I'll actually email him. Put it out as a panelist.
You know, when to contact the backups if no one responds to us. Yes, Doug.
I reached out to Ben Harith at Community Development this afternoon to see if he would be available as a backup. Or unless you guys wanted to involve him, and he could give the city's perspective of what
That's a
we
good
could
idea.
do as far as this topic. So he's been involved with Sacred Pipe and a couple other organizations very recently, so very relevant to what he's been working on. So just put that out there.
So I think that would be a great panelist, and I can just communicate with Ashley about we would actually rather have her as a panelist and moderator. Okay. Who was that, Doug? I'm
Ben
sorry.
Harith, the Director of Community Development.
I think we can move forward with that, because I have a feeling out of the 6 we invited, regardless, you can also move Ashley as moderator. I feel like we're not gonna get the other 500.
But Megan doesn't commit to F5. You can always ask Megan Man from Home Banner.
Just a recommendation, if you do something with Sacred Pipe, you should probably do something, or we should probably do something with Native Inc. as well.
Sacred Pipe is the one who's been there. I think that's why we.
Yeah, because Sacred Pipe brought it to us at our meeting, that's why we went with them.
Just a recommendation.
Well, so we're still sending out the email list to other community organizations that would like you to come. You know, please tell us about your experiences and then come with questions and things so that can at least send the invitation in that way. Do we have any concerns with like the recent city ordinance and how that might drive attendance or the direction of questions or anything like that related to this topic?
Well,
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I believe there's an education aspect to this that's getting out there. After kind of digging into it on the side, I wasn't able to attend the actual hearing, but doing some more investigating and conversations. And realizing that public health is supporting it and a lot of other departments that normally would be opposed to something of this nature, the way it was being framed, I think there was some misunderstanding. Possibly though, it could be brought into the conversation.
because I actually think it would be the opposite. I think the ordinance brought up more conversation about
In a healthy
how,
way.
yeah, the
Yeah.
housing situation that we're seeing. So that's my opinion, but
I was there and it did happen. I was there for the entire time. So, and it did happen where it was more so them bringing up housing.
Okay.
As long as their comments.
Several times. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any concerns around like not including people that are working directly? I mean, I know everyone is somewhat involved with those that are unhoused, but like even like United Way and, you know, Ministry on the Margin, people that are directly serving people. I don't know, it just seems,
I know Native Inc. works directly with houseless populations as well as Sacred Night. Yeah.
yeah, so, okay.
But I think the separation with organizations involved in houseless, like that's going to be part of this conversation, and maybe this community conversation is what leads us, because they are connected conversations, but also separate conversations, if that makes.
Do you have anyone on the panel that is unhoused themselves? I
Or
think
has lived experience.
lived
We
experience.
have Micah with lived experience. He's not
Yeah.
houseless, but finding fair, accessible housing.
There will be a lot of opportunity in the future with Helpless working with to develop a low barrier shelter center, and we're working with several stakeholders right now to determine the backbone of that organization and how that's all gonna work. So Renee Mott's been working with the stakeholder group. Yeah, it's been moving fairly quickly. Month and a half. So that conversation will progress rapidly over the next months. Lots of opportunity to continue to discuss this.
Well, and I think too, like we usually use the feedback form to plan the next conversation. However, the conversation, I mean, houseless was a topic that was already brought up too. So we could also move forward with the mentality that this is our conversation in November, our one in February, we're going to discuss, like, already knows that we can tell the people, like, hey, next community conversation, we're going to, you know, kind of shift over now more to the focus on the houseless. That would be one thing that we could do.
Yeah.
Just be, my concern with, I know that they're super connected, but we only have, what, in how 2 hours up there. So that's a lot of conversation for both of those topics. I think they both deserve their own
Yeah.
kind of platform.
What's the other date? Just
November 14th.
I think I do, I can check it.
In the room, that Thursday.
Um,
That being said too, how do we want to handle, I guess, conversations regarding, like advertising and having our pamphlets done and all those things, just because of when our next,
you clarify.
like the things that Katie has done in the past. And stuff,
Oh, the,
the
Now I feel like
handouts.
Whitney just has the template. I
Okay,
didn't do anything last time, so we're just getting the bios, right?
yep, and the questions literally are the same as we've used in the last two, just kind of tweaked a little bit to make sense with what we're discussing.
as long as we just make sure that we have to do that.
When are we gonna, like, announce it?
I will connect with the comms team tomorrow. See their thought process. Because there'll be different timelines for different avenues. I will talk to Keelan. And then my thought process is if we don't hear by end of week, Friday, we start moving on to some of our follow-ups. Thought process on that.
I think that's probably fair. We've already in October, so we don't have to move forward.
Oh yeah, we're getting like. Am I allowed to make phone calls on Wednesday? I send,
Not to make phone calls.
yeah, like if I send follow-up emails to the panelists that we are, that
Yeah.
taking about, okay.
Yeah.
There will be, I don't know if my,
Holly.
the people we invited to be panelists, I just,
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
you
Okay.
can assign,
I thought
make
you meant
phone
during.
calls to anybody on.
Yeah, I did too. I was like.
Should we call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hungry.
Commit to MC
She's the moderator,
or
yeah.
moderators.
Yep, and then that was my bad. I forgot that we, were going to ask Ashley to be a moderator rather than a panelist. So, but her and I have been in email communication quite a bit. I'm just having to meet, but it has not worked for 2 months. So, I'll just change that with her. Talk to her. Okay. Any other,
Do we need to bring anything? Just water, maybe?
just, yeah, I think those little bottles of water, which I'll buy, like, I'll buy those.
I'm gonna eat some.
Yeah, I don't, I really don't,
I'm hungry, so I eat one.
I don't think we need to bring any snacks. I think that just those,
She's gonna pick everything up from Whitney that needs to go over there.
because everything is here, correct? Everything was returned after Bismarck.
Yes, Jason returned it.
So I will grab that.
Oh, yeah. I never told you I dropped your table
Whitney
here.
called me.
Did I? Oh, Whitney told
Whitney
you.
emailed me and said, I'm wondering whose table this is. I'm like, that's mine. So I went and got it.
You brought it here.
Yes, I don't know when I.
I will take that.
I can be a backup to you if anything comes up, bring it up, pick it up and be there early.
Do you just want to,
Should I just do it?
Yeah.
Got delegate.
That's for picking up brochures and different things?
Yeah.
Okay.
any other conversations about that?
Do we want to invite any of these organizations to bring pamphlets on there?
Not a bad
That's not a bad
idea.
idea.
I just suddenly thought of it, like if they have information on housing. maybe to
I know
bring it
PNE
to-
does. With this organization.
Yeah.
So I think like, I'm pretty sure Geraldine puts one of her places.
Yeah, she did. Yep.
So, like, it would make
It's for
sense, yeah.
housing, so that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Be a good way
Yeah.
to share information about housing within the community.
Do you think we should go a little bit further too then? And so it works, we already invited organizations to attend. We could put it out there too, that if you are an organization in attendance that is in this realm, they could also bring, or do we want to just leave that for the panelists only?
I think anybody could.
If it's relevant to
But-
housing.
Yeah.
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 To the housing conversation.
Do you guys think that, are we wanting to wait, or do you think we should address the fact that our next community conversation will be focused more on the house list to hopefully help allow us to really focus on the conversation that we're trying to have?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Because I know, because then too, what would be great is if we're bringing that up, they have the feedback forms. You can just say, make sure that you're, if you're interested in the next one, you're also bringing up what you want us to have and recommendations for panelists. I
Yeah.
think that's a good way to move forward with it. Yeah. Awesome. So that is community conversations. And then now we're open to other business. Like I said, I had something about business, but I can't remember. So,
Sorry, Jason.
does anyone have any other business?
Yeah, so you may all have gotten the letter. Submitted a letter of resignation today. It's just, it's with a heavy heart. I don't know, do you want me to read it or?
Wait, I guess we all have a copy.
Okay,
I didn't know, you should probably read it, Bella.
okay.
No,
I'm like,
I'm just teasing.
okay. Yeah, I just wanted to thank all of you. Obviously, this community has been a huge part of me coming back and moving back to my hometown. Not knowing that there was anything like this when I left years ago, and that the city took an interest in serving all citizens of Bismarck, really.
has just been very important and special to me, and I've been able to develop some amazing relationships with all of you and see what our community is really about. So, and it's about supporting everyone, and that's an amazing thing. So I just wanted to thank all of you. Just know that this is just for now, so that I can try and get my nonprofit foundationally set up. So I'll be resigning after this. But there's this really good volunteer button on the human relations page of the city. And so you will be seeing me from time to time at events in whatever capacity.
Thank you for your work. You've been such an inspiration. And I say that wholeheartedly, even though it came out a little sarcastically. I don't know what it is. You just bring it out of me.
Yeah.
We have to move to accept your resignation.
Doug, do we? You're not, okay.
It's gonna happen no matter what, but
Unfortunately.
officially.
Tia and I were actually just talking about, because we were meeting the other day regarding being on Studio 7-1, and we were talking about, because I always asked her question, who's this guest? And we were actually talking about Jason and how he's grown from, Jason and how much he's grown from when he was on the podcast, but then it was early on until we've seen him grow over the past year or so since he's been on it and taking on this new nonprofit. And I know how much work that is. And I know it's probably hard for him to step down, but he knows that's something that he needs to do. And I know he took a huge amount of time thinking about it. Jason.
So I'm not going to say anything because I'm not able to hold back my tears like Sargiana can. So thank you, Jason. I'm not sure if everyone read his letter fully, but he started North Dakota's first HIV nonprofit that's seeking to fill the gaps in services for community members. So it's a big undertaking.
Only 40 years old.
HRC will support you in any way that we can. I personally will support you in any way that I can. Truly, oh gosh, nope, I will text you later with my gratitude. So,
What we're telling you is to open your own volunteer button.
I love that.
I'm not a crier, didn't cry for brothers one the other week, so I will say yes.
thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, just very excited to see where this nonprofit goes. It's gonna fill a huge gap in our state, and I think do a lot of great things, and hopefully that means I get to partner with you, professionally, all those things, but I know you've done so much in this space through just with the state and health equity and those things already, and it's great to see this more solidified. It's gonna be a big gap. You will bring a lot of, I think, good thoughts and consideration and discernment to this committee. So I'm gonna have to start learning how to ask more questions moving forward, because I usually hear.
It would help, honestly. I just wanna remind all of you that the work that you're doing is unbelievable. In the letter, it talks a little bit about how this is an extremely vital committee in this city. We saw the Minot Human Relations Committee be disbanded. There is pushback throughout the last few years about work like this, and 20 years ago, 27 years ago, they knew why they created this committee to defend and stand up for those who don't have a voice in our community, and to continue expanding and growing the beauty of a diverse community in this great capital city. And so, and protecting those who are here. And all of you do a stellar job. I couldn't have asked for better people to work with. So thank you. And now I'm gonna stop too.
He's gonna keep me in line with Emotions and you're not in the chairs.
Well, I think somebody in the corner here will
It
do a great
wasn't
job.
me, I was throwing out dirty motions.
What was called earlier too, so ever
It
since,
was so bad.
Not address me.
ever since you've been done as president, just slowly, or chairperson, just slowly, yes, away.
I'm going, ugh.
You don't use it.
Yeah. So if someone to accept this resignation.
I move to accept Jason's resignation.
Would it be actually that?
No,
Go
we
for it.
will.
But we will all accept.
We need a second now that it's been a motion.
I mean, according to Robert's.
If someone second it, we'll probably.
Second nodding. Second nodding.
Yeah, so
I second it.
all in favor, all who support the decision for Jason to step down, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Jason is no longer a part of us.
Oh, whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
I still live here.
This.
You have a couple more, or wait, or is this your last one?
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Okay,
We should have changed that one.
so,
Yes.
I wanted to do it so I could accept applications.
That's fair, yes, that makes sense.
That's why the numbers didn't number for me.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know, I was like.
You were like, no,
I
there's
always
no.
So just before we adjourn, I just wanted to recap here. We have 5 vacancies now, so that's where my numbers were coming from. So we have 5 vacancies that we'll be putting up in a few weeks for nominations. So I encourage you all to reach out to your communities, to people who are living our mission, and really encourage them to apply. We need, go ahead.
Sorry, I just mathing my head around.
I think it's 4 vacancies. I might have lost my.
No, there's 3 terms that are expiring. One person has stepped down and he's the second one that stepped down.
So it's 5 vacancies, but we're only
Right now.
potentially gonna fill 3.
Three.
Yes.
That's
So
correct.
as of this meeting or as of tomorrow, you guys will have a 7-member committee until January. Just because there's 2, so you won't have to have a full quorum,
Oh,
the commission accepting the 2 resignations. If those positions aren't filled, you wouldn't have to have the 5-person quorum.
And I do want to, this is going to be a real bummer that I'm going to say it, but we have had in the past where current sitting committee members have reapplied and they have not been. So like I said, that's a bummer to think about, but it is a very real possibility also. Because I do believe that there's also a glance at, the diversity of the communities we serve and everything. So just keep that in mind. But we do have Geraldine, Sassy, and Carl, whose terms are up. We have Jason and Catrice, who's resigning, so we'll have those 5 functioning right now, opening 3. So,
Remind me the process of selecting new council members once applications close. Is it that we review them and make our recommendations to the mayor?
That's correct. You would review, select the number, make recommendations. to the mayor.
we've never
Never reviewed them.
Whitney?
No, the mayor reviews them and then makes his recommendation to the commission.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Okay,
Mayor reviews them, yeah, if you.
I don't know why in my mind I thought that'd be last year, but. I do remember when I got my letter that it said the mayor was specifically the one who made the recommendation.
Appointed.
They're appointed by the mayor.
yeah,
Hold on, now I'm gonna have to change my spiel number, 7-person committee if we change it, yeah.
I'll help you get your application.
You know, Calgary, my.
This thing. I'm so sorry.
Is there any other business that we need to discuss?
Who's cooking dinner tonight?
I figured you would have brought us cookies. Just kidding.
I wrote something.
so I'll do some research on this in the meantime, but reading the membership portion of the ordinance says the president of the board of city commissioners shall consider the recommendations of the Human Relations Coalition for the appointment to the Bismarck Human Relations Committee. So Whitney, I don't know the difference between the Bismarck Human Relations Coalition and the, you know what that is?
I'm not sure.
Well, you need to get some clarification on that, and we'll have an answer for you next month.
Yeah, 'cause it shows, you know,
I'll have to get that stuff.
and then the mayor.
The mayor's didn't though, because I was up for it last year and we never discussed me.
Yeah, it's best. It's not last year, either that or the first year.
Any other,
We'll get clarification on that.
maybe adjourn the meeting?
Yeah.
No, but I'm going to right now, if I'm good to adjourn. Yep, meeting is adjourned at 6:41.
Okay.